Hello and welcome to Leeton Business Chamber Q&A Session 2. For our New South Wales Small Business Month event, we wanted to showcase the amount of business support and resources that are available to Leeton businesses. Today's business Q&A focuses on product and service, planning, grants, grant writing, and digital marketing, all important aspects of running a business. Our panellists have 10 to 20 years experience or more in their field and are highly motivated to use their knowledge to help small businesses succeed. Let's do a quick introduction before jumping into some of the questions. Crystal Roden is our planning specialist. Crystal's previous role as a theatre manager, she was responsible for marketing plans, event plans, staffing, and overseeing the financials of the business. Crystal and her husband are small business owners and heavily involved in many community events and activities. Whether it be a business plan, marketing plan, or event plan, Crystal has extensive experience with all aspects of business planning. Martin O'Donnell is our product and service specialist. Martin has a Bachelor of Business and is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. Martin is an experienced administrator and retail business owner. He has held high level of accounting administration roles and consulting roles with various organisations across manufacturing and production. His aim is to use his commercial and hands-on experience to guide business owners towards becoming more in control of their enterprise. Chantelle Egan is our business concierge for Leeton and the area. Chantelle is originally from Griffith and has been around small business all her life. Chantelle has worked for Service New South Wales for over 3.5 years as a business concierge. That experience with government, grants, permits, licenses, and negotiating the red tape. Our local business concierge, Chantelle, offers face-to-face support for businesses who are looking to start or grow their business in the local area. Sue Pearce is our grant writing specialist. Now based in Kajildri, Sue commenced grant writing as a coordinator for the Griffith Shed for Men 11 years ago. With phenomenal success and credible feedback from assessment teams, the Australian Men's Shed Association grant writing team, and encouragement from an expert grant writer, Sue started her grant writing business. Sue's client list consists of non-for-profits, community groups, and small business. She is involved in countless local projects and community committees. Sue's work does not end once the grant is successful, as she becomes involved with the committees and working groups to assist where needed. Sue Voss is our digital marketing specialist. Sue has a strong cultural tourism experience and is passionate about audience engagement and business development. Her extensive knowledge is seen through the success of Queensland's Abbey Museum and Abbey Medieval Festival, now on its 30th year and visited by thousands of tourists every year. Sue is also responsible for the incredible transformation of the Art Deco Festival Leeton and the Leeton Museum Gallery. Sue works for Leeton Shire Council, and for the month of October, we'll be hosting 6 digital marketing workshops at Yanko Institute. See all the details on the Leeton Shire's Facebook page events. Welcome to all the panellists. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to thank everyone that's sending their business questions for our panellists. And now we'll kick off with some of the first questions from the question box. Okay. We'll kick off with you, Crystal. Hello, how are you? Just
Sorry,
get you off mute there.
Their apologies. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to join this morning, Marianne.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so our first question in relation to business planning. How important is it to create a business plan?
It is very important. I don't think you should be starting a business or taking over a business without having a business plan in place. So I guess it's there to give a vision and provide direction to where your business, where you want your business to go, how you want it to grow, who's your target audience. I guess it's just something that you can go back to at any given time. It's an evolving document, so it can change. It might, be something that you adjust every quarter or every couple of months. When you jump into business, you kind of have a directions, and sometimes that changes, which is fine because you learn things as you go. But it's really important to have that documented, especially, whether you're working on your own or in a business partnership, because that kind of, I guess, holds you accountable if you're working with a business partner. It's also something that you can share with your team, so it's very important.
Yeah, you made some really interesting points about sharing with the team as well, because I think when the team or employees know the full picture, they get a little bit more motivated with the end goal.
I think so. It helps them have a better understanding of the business. They're not going in blind as an employee. So if they've got, they're on the same page and understanding your vision, it would certainly help your business succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other interesting point is that it's an evolving document. I totally agree with that. You can't just make it when you first start your business and then put it on the shelf and let it collect dust. Otherwise,
that's right. And we do talk to people from time to time who say, we haven't touched our business plan for a couple of years. We did it when we first started our business. And that's all good and well. At least there's something to kind of start them off and get them going. But yeah, it's very important to always revisit that document.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you. I'll jump into another question. Suze, so just in relation to digital marketing, what digital marketing platform do you find most effective and why?
Okay, that's a big question. So when it comes to digital marketing, at the end of the day, everything that we're doing online, we want to try and lead it to one place, and that should be your website. So when it comes to your website, I love WordPress as the CMS, the content management system. It's very easy to use. It's probably the most popular one worldwide. You can never have created a website in your life and go ahead, buy your domain, get your hosting, and I would recommend GoDaddy there too, just because of the service is amazing. And they can help you point you in the right direction as to where on the dashboard you click to see the back end of your website. So it really is that easy, and people shouldn't feel scared or shy away from that. My next favourite platform would have to be Vision 6 for email marketing. So email marketing is really important. It's where the money making happens. It's definitely underrated, I think, because really in terms of grabbing people online, whether you're just making them aware of your brand or whether you're nurturing them as a potential customer or whether you're really giving them options to decide and buy and book and donate and become a member, email marketing is where the conversion takes place. So I love Vision 6. It's an Australian company. It's a lot of people tend to use MailChimp. It's really accessible and easy. Vision 6 is better value for money and has far more functionality. So that and Facebook Creator Studio, not forgetting Canva to make all of our gorgeous images and content.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of platforms out there that people don't realise how much they can actually do with them, and they probably use about 1% of what they're actually capable of. So yeah. They're great points actually.
In one of the workshops that I'm doing coming up, it's all about our favourite tips and tools and tricks to hack digital marketing for beginners. And I'm amazed at how many people don't know about automation tools. So if you're out there and you've got 5 spare minutes, definitely head over to Zapier. Just Google Zapier and it will blow your mind in terms of the opportunity to actually automate so many aspects of digital marketing so that you don't need to be sitting there doing manual tasks. So definitely that's
absolutely. I'm going to check that out myself. I've used other ones like Hootsuite and things like that. Is that something similar that you mean?
Oh, it's above and beyond. So Zapier connects all of your cloud-based things. So it will connect your Hootsuite to your WordPress, to your MailChimp, to your Vision 6, so that whenever something, you set up a trigger, so it might be someone has subscribed on your website. So Zapier then connects your website to your Vision 6 to send them the email. Congratulations, thank you for subscribing. We love you. This is your special offer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's hundreds and hundreds of zaps that you can make. It's quite fun, actually.
Yeah, so that takes a lot of I guess, administration time out of marketing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is so important for small business, because already it seems like this big mountain. How am I going to climb this? I don't know how to do digital marketing. It's not that hard. You've got to keep it simple and just do one little thing at a time. WordPress, do your website, get your email marketing, get your template, know who your audience is, and start sending messages. And
fantastic.
One goal a month.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point too. Okay. Sue Pierce, in relation to grant writing, what grant is best for my organisation?
Okay, the best thing for an organisation or a business is to be very clear about what they want. So before you go into the grant field, it's a minefield for sure. Before you go in there, make sure you know what you want. So have a clear vision, and this is where we tie in with Crystal with a business plan. You must have a clear vision of where you're going. Then once you decide on which project you might want, whether it be research and development or something else for your business, there's hundreds available. Just be clear in the steps you want to take to go for that grant. So don't be wishy-washy. Don't come in with 100 little things at the side that you think you might want to do. Just have one clear project. You can always write grants, what we call in stages. So you could go stage 1, you might want some energy efficiency grants done. Then stage 2, you might want another project done. So just break it up into smaller projects and concentrate on one thing at a time. So that's up to you and your staff to decide what it is you want. Once you've got that project in mind, then start sourcing the grants. So my advice is really be clear on what you want. So and that's specific to your organisation. Sometimes people will just have a look at a grant and say, oh, I'll go for that one there, and then put a half attempt in, and it's just not worth it. They're so hard to get. They're very complicated to write. So just be clear in the first place of what project your business needs. The money is out there for sure. There's plenty out there, especially at the moment with the government handing money around. So it's worthwhile going, and you've got to be in them to win them. That's the main thing. But definitely be clear, concise, and know what your project is. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really important point, because like you just said, some people go and look, what grants are available, I'll go for that one, rather than is a chicken before the egg. And so you need to find out what you want it for, and then go find the grant that's suitable for that. And I think that's really important, so you're not wasting time and trying to apply for a grant that's not even going to work, or wasting time putting half-assed effort in and then not getting it anyway because you haven't sort of planned it. Yeah, and they are quite detailed too, but which is not, if you know what you want, I think the detail's fine. You agree?
That's right. Oh yes, yeah, plenty of detail, plenty of statistics to back up your need, why the need is there, why the community needs what you've got to offer. The culling process in the grant field is really severe. So you may get that first question wrong. You may get that, do you have an ABN? You may tick the wrong box there. You're out. They don't even go to the next step. So it's such a severe process. There is even a computer cull. So if you don't have the right words in there, the computer will do the first cull. So just make it very specific to your project. Clear and concise is the main thing. You don't want that person who knows nothing about your business at the end of the day saying, what is it they want? And I have read applications where I've got to the end, the sample ones people have sent me, and I think, well, I don't even know what you're asking for. So just be clear and concise, and you don't have to be wordy. Don't be wordy. Just
an essay.
Don't go for the flowery words. I spoke to a grant assessor in a government field, and he just said, Monday morning I'm fine, by Friday afternoon I don't care about all the flowery words and everything. I just want to know exactly what you're doing. So
and I was once in a workshop when I think the council organised a workshop with the grants guy. I think his name.
He's actually my mentor.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he was really great. And I actually refer back to his notes a lot. And one of the things that stuck in my mind is that every section is read by a different person. So you might have a nice fluffy story at the start, or, you know, be clear and concise at the start, and then you go into the next one and you're not sort of explaining yourself again. The next person's has no idea what you're talking about. So you sort of got to keep that all the way through. So different people are reading different sections. So I think that's really important to remember as well.
Mm.
Yep, fantastic. Okay, Chantelle, Business Concierge. How do I know what kind of license and permits my business needs?
That's a massive question. So I guess the great thing about the Business Concierge program is we can step you through each license your business needs to obtain, and we can also help you apply for them. So we also, on our website, we have a system where you can find your industry type and it will list all the licenses that you may need. We also offer checklists for a range of industry types that go through each step by step and just shows you the requirements for your business. And we also have our online dashboard that can keep track of where you're up to with starting your business and what license you've obtained and which one you'll need to get next. Or if you're a business that requires just a quick health check with your licenses to make sure you're up to date, we can help with that as well.
Oh, fantastic. That website is also a great resource, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's very detailed and it's set out quite well. I think I've had a bit of a play on there before. So yeah, and then also having the ability to jump on the phone to yourself, or
yeah, definitely. Or, you know, sometimes it's just popping out. Sometimes it's you know, you might know what license you need. The application, it can be quite daunting. So just having someone who can come out and step it through with you and fill out the paperwork and lodge it, super easy.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a great service. Okay, Martin, we haven't talked to you yet.
I'm Mary.
In relation to product and service, so basically I just want to start off by saying that's in relation to like a business offering is what we're talking to you about. So today, the first question is, what can we do to make our staff more effective? Everyone has motivated and unmotivated staff, so how can we address this?
I'd preempt this by saying that we're all probably employees at some stage in our lives, and then we probably might have been supervisors or managers and business owners. So the question about a good or bad employee, I'd actually put that also to good or bad employers or good and bad bosses. So it's not always a one-way street. A bad employee might be the result of a bad boss. So we have to realise that. I won't talk about bad bosses, I'll talk about employees rather than that, but we just have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But when we employ someone, take on a new staff member, there's often induction programs and training programs and explanations of what you have to do, how you have to do it. Employee gets in, certainly if they're a younger person, they're taking a lot of information on board, trying to, then they'll get into the job, make mistakes, make errors, learn about the position. Now, where my advice would be, and I think Crystal actually touched on this earlier, is it's not the how and the what and the techniques. It all comes down to the why. You know, why is somebody doing a certain job? Why are we doing it this way? If you give them the why, the reason for it, it just helps it all fit into the big picture, fit into the plan. It's no good someone in a clothing store or a shoe shop. You know, we do the displays this way. This is how we always do it. And if the employee doesn't understand why we do it in a certain way, they just do it and they sort of don't get the motivation to sort of continue on or make a better thing. If you tell them why we're doing it in a certain way, they'll understand and they'll get a bit more motivated. If you don't have the reason for the why, if you can't tell them why, then maybe the procedure's wrong or the idea's wrong. You know, you really have to have a good why, and then maybe the supervisor or manager needs to readdress that issue or assess why they're doing it that way. So that's sort of the biggest point about it that I'd make is that, yeah, why, bring them into the big picture, help explain the you know, where the business is heading. That's all part
Absolutely. And to have, if you do, like you mentioned, if you don't have that why, maybe another way is to create that why or create another procedure with the employee, so they feel more inclusive and like they've contributed to a big part of the business.
Well, for sure, that's right. If you can incorporate them and so they're starting to make the decisions or they're thinking about why you're doing it, and if they question, you know, if you're telling them why, then they can question and they are becoming more involved, and they will be more responsive to the whole business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really great point. I think staff, I think you made a good point about employers can produce unmotivated employees. I think that happens more often than not, than many people want to admit. And I think staff are just just the biggest asset. And I remember a quote that I love is, if you look after your staff, the staff will look after your business. And I think that just reigns true with some of those really big corporate brands as well. And I think it's got to shower down to the smaller businesses as well. It's really important.
It goes to every level. Like it goes from the new employee to their immediate supervisor up, and at each level of the chain should be just keeping the eye on and working with that employee or employees, and really doing that why, and that'll just help build it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great topic, I think. Okay, we'll jump over to Crystal. Business planning. What should a business plan include? A marketing calendar or a sales forecast?
There's a lot that a business plan can include. If you have a look and have a bit of a Google and see what's out there, they all are quite different. They range from 2-page business plans right through to 50-page business plans. So it's about picking one, I guess, that's right for your business. I'd look at starting small to begin with, and you can always grow that plan and make it bigger. So going back to what I said initially, it's making sure you include what your vision is, what your business will look like in 3, 4, 5 years time. Including things like your mission. That's what drives you, what gets you out of bed each day. A business description. So what what are you, or what do you plan to do? Who are you doing it for? I guess that's really important. Doing a market analysis, so your market size, buying patterns of customers, that sort of thing are important to include. Your customer profile. Who are your customers? If you know who your customers are, it's easier to attract them to your business or work your marketing plans around that. You need to know who your competition is. What are they offering? Why are sometimes your customers going there instead? What's your unique selling proposition? So what can you do different, or what, I guess, sets you apart from your competitors? That's really important. It's also important to know your sales channels. How are you planning to sell your product? So is that, by having the bricks and mortar shopfront presence? Are you going to, have a website, or are you going to sell through Instagram, or all those sorts of things? So that's really important. And then just your objectives and milestones, or I think actually a rolling calendar is really important. So say you might be a startup yoga instructor. So you might have a vision to have 5 clients coming to two classes a week in 3 months' time, and have that calendar rolling, so that in 4 or 5 months' time it might be coming to 6 classes per week, those 5 clients, and then have that grow. So it can include so much, and there's so much more than what I've said. That was obviously still quite a bit. And then from there, I think once you've got that down on paper, then you can do things like your marketing plan and stuff like that once you have the nitty-gritty, I guess, sorted out.
Yeah, and the marketing plan is another evolving document, as you said before. So one of the interesting topics you mentioned is knowing who your audience is, or who your customers are. And I remember when I was studying communication and marketing, I don't want to admit how long ago, but it was a lot of above the line sort of techniques, so your mass media and all that sort of advertising and marketing. But now it's very below the line, so it's very direct. And I remember in more recent research that pinpointing the exact person who it is will bring your marketing tactics really on point. So instead of thinking, I want to attract women from 20 to 45 and you know, they like beauty products, or that's just not specific enough anymore because of social media. You
Yeah.
need to think, I want a Karen that's blonde and has 3 kids and works part-time, and, you know, that specific
Yeah.
person. And then, okay, how am I going to get to, I just use Karen because it come up. It's a popular name at the moment, apparently. How am I going to get to Karen, and what does she like? Where does she watch it? And go from there. So you pitch
those habits of that particular customer that, yeah, you've kind of got to drill down into to know how will you get them through the door, and where are they going to be? So where are they going to see your marketing material, or where do they hang out, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so much more detailed now, and you can do that, which is amazing. So yeah, that's fantastic. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, your marketing plan, your business plan should include, I think, yeah, like you mentioned, the holistic sort of approach of your business, and then you mentioning taping off into a marketing plan after that. So, okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Just get that business plan down first, and then from there, your marketing plan and all your other important bits and pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Suze, digital marketing.
Yes.
How do I turn my online audience into paying customers?
Easy. Well, basically, it's exactly what you and Crystal were just talking about. So if you're a new business, or, you know, just a small business, if you know who your audience is and where they are and what they're doing, then you can show ads to them. So just to develop what you were talking about before, when you do your basic business plan, and you start small, like Crystal said, you do need to identify who maybe top 3 audiences are. You might have no idea. You might just be copying what you think they are. You might not have done any research. You might not yet have any data. Continue to build data, though, because it's the key into the future. What you need to do is build a psychographic profile. So that's what Crystal and Marianne were talking about. If you don't know me from a bar of soap, and I said to you the following things: Terry White Chemist, Sauvignon Blanc, Fossil, Mitsubishi, Catholic schools, DIY hair care. Did you build a picture of who I might be? So that's a psychographic profile. Okay. And from that, like, you know, you're building an audience going, oh, actually, I really think that my business appeals to the people that are coming into Leeton and they've got a family and there's not a lot for them to do. And I really think that I've got something to offer them. So then you go and start looking into audience insights in Facebook, which is completely free. You type in a few pages. So pages that have got a really good following, 10, 20,000 or more. And you start seeing of those pages, and I can teach you how to do this in my workshops. It's really simple. You start to see what pages that audience engages with, loves, and cannot get enough of. So then you just go and look at those pages, figure out what they're doing, and you do something similar because you know that it's already working for your audience. Not only that, you can create an audience of those people because you already know they're your perfect audience, and you start showing your ads directly to them. You just target your ads to them. You're not throwing out a wide net, you're throwing out a very targeted, secure net, and do some testing with images and call to actions. In the workshops, I've been loving telling people about the Amazon effect, which is how to create your ad headline to convert. There's lots of fun stuff like that. So the ability to use Facebook audience insights to actually find your audience and get your message right in front of them is phenomenal.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize you can use Facebook insights to look at other pages. Is that correct? Is that what you mean?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's looking at the other pages.
Yep.
Audience.
Okay. Yeah.
So what will happen is you'll type in, say, be a fun mum or something like that. Be a fun mum, one of these. And then what it will show is their audience. On the right-hand side, you'll see all of the top real estate pages, the top TV pages, the top magazine pages, the DIY pages that audience of Be a Fun Mum love. So straight away, you know, oh, okay, they are more Woolworths than Coles people. All right. They're more Bunnings than might have 10 people. Okie dokie. They really into gluten-free. That came out of nowhere, but oh, that's interesting. I'll keep that little nugget. And then you're starting to build that psychographic profile of who you thought your perfect audience was, because you've got something similar to Be a Fun Mum to offer. And then you can start building your marketing around that.
That's a really, really important tool, because otherwise you sort of just, you think,
blind.
oh, what do they want? And you think you know that person, but like you said, something from left of field just pops up, and it could be a really game changer when you're advertising.
And don't be scared, because the data is there. It's there for you. Facebook wants to build an experience for everybody that uses it that is relevant to them. They don't want advertisers throwing out a wide net and putting rubbish in people's news feeds. It's never going to work. That's why they're giving you all of these tools. And don't be scared of it. It is easy, and it is not expensive. It does not need to be expensive. And we have lots of resources and skills here at Council, and we're here to help you. So definitely just pop in or drop us a line, send us an email if you want, and definitely check out the Chamber website, because we've still got a lot of workshops coming up too.
So many, yeah. And I can't wait to come to your workshops. Okay, Sue Pierce. Grant writing. How do I source suitable grants?
Okay, there's many ways to source grants. I think the first thing, if you're just beginning, is to start getting onto some government websites. You can subscribe to those, and they'll send you out weekly or fortnightly grant notifications. They're a good start. Then if you're getting right into it, start with a subscription to a good provider. I prefer the Grants Hub, and they give you a weekly update. But there's 860 grants on the Grant Hub at the moment. So that's a wide range. And they split it up. It's very user-friendly, and they split it up so you can use, you could go to business or organisations, or drill down on what you want, so you're not getting bombarded with the 860 at once. So another thing that I suggest, certainly Business Australia website has a lot of business grants on there, so it's worthwhile becoming a member and of the Leeton Business Chamber, and therefore the Business Australia website, because that's got a lot of information on just business grants. Really helpful. I found that really good looking at that yesterday. There is a lot of grants out there that you will be probably a little bit overwhelmed with at the moment, because the government is throwing money around, but you can always familiarise yourself with them. So good to take a bit of time to get used to what's coming in and and check the guidelines, make sure you know what each grant entails. Another big thing is networking within your local community. Can't stress that enough. You've got to know other businesses, your business chamber for a start. Council in Leeton is absolutely amazing. They just help so many people, so many organisations. They're always there. So get to know your local council. Put it out there what you're doing. So just do that bit of networking and let people know what you plan to do, because the support in Leeton and surrounds is phenomenal. I come from another area and I would never go back, ever. It's just so good here with the community support. And then once you start building up that networking, you're going into that side of things. Also, don't forget about your local members. I'm not talking about that from a political point of view, but local members want to know, they keep their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the area, and they love tourism. They love any photo opportunity that they can get, and they're very, very supportive. If you build up a bit of a rapport with them and let them know, it might only be an email to one of their admin staff, but at least you're putting it out there, you know, we're thinking of doing this, or they love a photo opportunity. So if they're in your town and they can fit you in, they will. Yeah, so basically it's all about networking and building up that, you know,
that's a really
resources. And
they're really good points. I think the obvious one is, if you go online and you can have a look either from Service New South Wales or Business New South Wales and have a look that way. But and subscribing. That's another really interesting one. But yeah, networking is very unique, isn't it? And sometimes I think it's underestimated a lot. And even you and I, Sue, met at one of the workshops with Leeton Connect, and we just started talking. And I was like, wait a minute, you need to be on our panel. So that's networking. That's just the absolute definition of it, isn't it? And you meet so many interesting people and so many opportunities when you start to network. So once we can have some more events with the chamber, we love to do networking events and talk about things like that. So yeah, that's another really interesting point to find different grants available. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions to go through, so I'll keep moving on. Martin, in relation to product and service, when buying assets, is it better to finance or purchase outright?
That might have been for me.
Not for you? Okay, let me have a look.
I think that who was the chartered accountant who was going to come along?
That might have been from the other day. That's okay. We'll
Sorry about that.
find those other ones. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me see. Okay, Martin, I've got it here now. What's the best way to manage a customer's negative experience? Negative feedback or poor customer review?
Okay. Well, I think actually this has been talked about a little bit, is that to know your business, it's so important to know what you're actually offering. Complaints sort of fall into different categories, but if you know what your service you're providing or the business you're providing, your staff know what it is, and that might alleviate some of the complaints. Because people might be asking for something that you can't provide, and they can go off and say, well, I wanted this and they couldn't do it, but we explained to them, sorry, that's not just part of our business. But the complaints fall into a couple of different areas. One is when you've outright, or your staff have outright made a mistake, you've stuffed up. It's no use trying to hide about that. Just, I believe, be upfront, open, handle the issue straight away, try and resolve it. Because if you try to argue, it'll come back and bite you. You just admit it, then talk to your staff, whoever's made the mistake, of what the issue is, and address that. Another area is where it's a misunderstanding, which is what I just briefly mentioned, is people might come in and, a fish and chip shop doesn't serve seafood platters, type thing. They walk in, they're expecting a certain service that you can't provide. So sorry, look, that's not part of our business, but head off up the road to the restaurant and you'll get that service you're requiring.
Yep. Okay. So basically, I think the main point is to be transparent. And I think one thing I learned in retail is to let the customer speak, I guess, about what they're worried about or what the issue was. And then, yeah, like you said, try and find a solution or provide the right information about what was missing, or if something was a misunderstanding. So hopefully you can turn that person's opinion around.
Well, that's right. And you don't want to argue with the customer. You don't want to sort of say they're wrong and you're right. It's not a he says, she says type situation. Mm-hmm. You listen to what they're saying. You express what you're offering, and hopefully you can leave it at that. It's best to sort of resolve the issue then and there, and not continue on. I think the more you argue, the more you try and push your opinion or your thoughts, the more you're going to lose from it. The customer is one customer, and they'll walk away. And the more you argue with them, the more likely they're going to tell other people and complain and whinge. Whereas if you can just cut it off there and then, that's a good point to be. The other area I was thinking of is communication. Certainly in sort of contract work or building or mechanic, if something changes, whether it's the timeline, for some reason the job's going to be delayed if you're a builder, or if it's a job is much bigger than you're expecting, let the customer know really early. They can keep them informed, so they're not going to get a shock at the end. They're not waiting, they're not ringing you, especially if it's a costing issue, that let them know up front what the additional cost might be, and then they can make the decision rather than go through, finish the job, and they're flabbergasted that they've got an extra $3,000 or $4,000 bill on top of their repair job.
And that's about trust too. I think that may have happened a lot in the past as well, where you signed a contract and then at the end of it, you got a little surprise. So yeah, I think that trust is very important because, as Sue would know, your online audience is your online feedback is a lot more powerful these days, and you can't hide from anything anymore. So back in the day when it was bricks and mortar, it was just that one person, they might tell 10 friends, but now they can tell hundreds. So yeah, that transparency and trust.
Well, the other part I was going to say is that when you've got staff, whether it's especially in the service industries, hospitality, you probably know what the sort of complaints are going to be. You know, you can look forward and say, you've happened in the past for different things. Talk to your staff about what to do if these issues happen, if something arises, so they know how to handle it. And if they can't make a decision, get them to make sure they speak to their supervisor or the owner so that a resolution is made on the spot. You don't want anyone walking out the door, not resolved, not happy.
Exactly. And sometimes when people are venting, they want to speak to a supervisor so they feel important. And it could be a matter of your protocol with your staff is saying, I understand. Yes. Okay. I'll see if my supervisor is available and we'll, come and talk to you together or something like that. I think that's another good point to make in regards to that. Okay. Chantelle, with awards changing regularly, what is the best way to stay up to date?
So as we all know, this can be a massive minefield. So my advice would be the best way to stay up to date with all the changes is to register an online account with Fair Trading. So if you go to the Fair Trading website, you can register an account there and it will automatically send you any updates for your industry type in regards to award changes. So it's a really handy tool to have. That way you're not searching, you're not looking for updates. It'll just come directly to you. You know it's there, and you know you're up to date.
Wow, that's a really great resource. I had no idea that was available. So
yeah. A lot of people don't, but fantastic to have.
So Fair Trading. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really important one, especially if you have employees of different levels or different wards. And hospitality, I've heard, is a quite confusing awards in relation to wages.
Definitely. There's so many different ones. So yeah, our advice is we flick you, we can even send it to you. We can send you the link, pop onto the Fair Work website and go from there.
Right, great. That's a really, really good one. Just head over to, okay. I think we have one more for Suze and a couple left to go. Digital marketing. How important is SEO on my website if I'm a small business in Leeton? Just on mute, Suze.
For me. So it's incredibly important, and it's actually a huge opportunity in Leeton too, because I've had a look and there's not a lot of us that are really doing it at all. So a couple of the people that were in some of my workshops, I'd done just a bit of SEO auditing before they came, and I said, you guys are sitting on a gold mine, because the types of search terms that I would put in to try and look for what you have to offer, the problems that you will solve for me, nothing comes up. In Leeton, I just get directory listings every time. So it's really important, and it's, again, not hard. And this takes me back to my recommendation about WordPress. And that's because WordPress is so user-friendly. There's some great plugins that you can use. You don't have to be a trained search engine optimization professional. You don't have to yet fork out thousands of dollars to hire one. So now is a great time to try and have a crack at it yourself. I would recommend just the Yoast SEO plugin. And there's just a couple of simple tips that you need to understand about headlines, the names of pages, the words on your page, that they all need to have the same keyword in them. And then you just quickly put that into your plugin down the end, and you've done your own on-page SEO. And then there's some things for small businesses that they could really benefit from, and that's making sure they've got their Google My Business listing set up and optimized nicely, all ready to go. Again, not a lot of Leeton small businesses do this. And Pinterest, you would be surprised, but Pinterest has a big role to play in SEO, and I am more than happy to talk to anybody about this offline, or just touch base with me and we can chat about it some more. But it's you wouldn't believe what a great source of traffic it is to your website.
That's interesting, because every time I do Google something for a template, Pinterest comes up. So, okay.
Yeah.
So another thing I heard the other day in a workshop was in relation to SEO is if you type in a topic in Google search and you click and you see the suggestions popping up before you finish your sentence, there are some keywords that people are typing in a lot.
Yep.
So those are the keywords that, if that's what your topic is, put it into your website.
And also a couple of years ago, the whole sort of environment for searching and the algorithm changed with Google. So it's no longer just about a word, it's about conversations. So it's like a phrase. So don't be scared to imagine the phrase that someone might be looking at. Keep it really simple and just go, okay, this is my business. What problem do I solve for people who don't know me yet?
Yes.
I provide really excellent service for people looking for soccer shoes at the last minute in Leeton, for example. So think about that, and then you can build a blog post around that, make sure you've got great images, and build your keyword phrases around that, for example. A very random example.
So that's an interesting point too, because you are solving a problem when someone Google searches. You're not just saying, oh, we sell beauty products, full stop. It's oh, how do I wash my hair with, and keep my color in.
Yeah.
And then,
And that is the key. So it's like when Crystal said, just start with a simple business plan, your vision and your mission. When you don't be scared and confronted by that, be like, vision, what's my vision? Just think about, what problem do I solve for people? Or what is my service that enables a problem to be solved for people? And that kind of helps to break it down a little bit. And that's when you all of a sudden start seeing ideas and what it is that you can actually do to find the people online, capture them, the messages that you want to say. It's no longer about, oh, okay, well, I sell sports shoes. No, I actually sell an experience where in your most stressful moment that you've got a competition the next day, and little Hannah just hasn't got any shoes or anything, and it's just the worst time in your life. There they plot that you find them online, because that's what you're going to do as a mum with your phone. Go in there, problem solved.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm coming back forever, ever, ever, ever after that, because of the problem and stress that you saved me that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fantastic.
That goes, that's right up there with my most random example. I hate soccer. I don't know where that came from.
It works. It all works. Okay, Sue, in relation to grant writing, what do I need prior to applying?
Again, we'll go back to Crystal's. Obviously, that's the most important thing here. We need a business plan. You need to know where you're going, what you're doing with your business. Also, your staff should be on board with whatever project you're choosing. No good throwing a new project at them that they're not ready for. Very important to have some research done. What's the marketing need for what you need to do? What in the community? You must have some statistics to back up your project. So they are looking for statistics and they are looking for research. So you might have done a community consultation or something like that, a survey. Very important to have all of that. You definitely need a budget. It's so important to have a concise budget. A budget is a tricky part of a grant application, and you've got to look at contingency costs. They've got to be very comprehensive, so make sure your budget's spot on. If you can't do it, get help. Get help from someone who can. Do you have some applications will want you to have a co-contribution? So it's important that you know where you're getting your contribution from. You may have some cash put away for that, or you're going to borrow that, whatever, but you've got to have a co-contribution source for most grants. Not all grants, but a lot of them. Always remember there's reporting obligations after you get a grant. You don't just get the money and that's it. Everyone's happy and you walk away. You've got acquittals that you have to do. You've got reports that you have to do. You'll also need proof of how that's helped your business, you know. So you'll need to keep some records as you go. And they'll ask specifically what those records are that they need, but you must keep your records. And at the end of the acquittal time, could be 6 months progress report, 12 months acquittal. They'll want answers, you know, as to how the money's been spent and how effective it is. They want the biggest bang for their buck. So they want proof that you've delivered on time and on budget. So, yeah, speak with qualified or successful grant writers. There's a lot in Leeton. There's a lot of grants coming to Leeton. So you're looking at some, I know there's some great ones at council. Some of the schools are getting big grants, some of the big organisations. Have a chat to some of the successful ones, put it out there, you know, who's been successful, and they'll share it around, because it's a competitive process, but this community is really tight knit, and everyone would want to see the money come into town. So use what's available. You know, don't try and reinvent the wheel, just use what experience others have had. So yeah, ask around.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the main thing we keep referring back to is that business plan and having a clear idea. I think having a clear idea when you're going in to apply for a grant also helps you with the reporting, because you know what you're trying to report, and you can probably build some sort of template to manage your accomplishments to finalize that reporting or keep that reporting up to date. And one thing that I think would help me if I was to get a grant is to set something up and you're updating it fortnightly or monthly, rather than at that 6 months try and gather all the information and put it together and be a bit stressed about what was happening. So you're sort of keeping on top of it. Is it working? Is this project going well? Is it helping my business? And then you've also got that reporting for the organisation that you've got the grant from. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, we've got one more question, and then I'll sign off and say goodbye to everybody and let you all get on with your day. Our last question is for Chantelle. What kind of financial assets is available for small businesses?
So I think it was financial assistance was what they were.
Oh, sorry,
assistance. No, you're right. So as most of the others have spoken about, there's a range of financial assistance and grants available to small businesses at the moment, especially with all the government money that's being thrown around, like we spoke about. So it just depends on your circumstances and your industry type. And like Sue said, knowing what you want. So as a business concierge, part of our role is to help locate and apply for grants on behalf of businesses. So they can be local, state or federal. So for example, at the moment, one of the main jobs that we've been doing, obviously with COVID, so in the Leeton Shire, we have been assisting customers with applying for grants. So just in Leeton alone, we've assisted around 27 businesses with the $3,000 COVID grant, and around 26 businesses for the $10,000 COVID grant. So there is a range out there, but like Sue explained, knowing what you're looking for in the way of financial assistance or grants, it is the best way to start.
I think grants and government funding assistance is probably put a big light on it now that since COVID's happened. I think people didn't realise that it's happened. It's been happening for a long time, but now it's a little bit more spotlight on it. So it's not just about when the universe shut down. It's to help you move forward and to create a better service for your community.
And I mean, the funding can be anything from, like, I recently there was one for, changing your lights over to having, the more energy efficient lighting. So it can be something as simple as that, to, your COVID grants or a bigger grant or a different kind. But I mean, it can be just something so small and simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, that was a lot to cover, but some amazing tips on important business topics. If you are a Leeton business owner, please remember there are local business resources and support here ready to help you with your business needs. If you have any more questions for our panellists, contact us at Leeton Business Chamber via email or on Facebook Messenger, and we will endeavour to bring you the right answers or in touch with these fantastic professionals. Once again, thank you all for joining me today, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.